In 1973, the Battle of the Sexes became one of the most watched television sports events of all time, with over 90 million people watching either in person or on TV. The match was between self-proclaimed chauvinist pig and famed tennis legend of the 1940s, Bobby Riggs, and the best female tennis player in the world at the time, probably Billie Jean King. That really happened, and now there's a dramatic retelling of these events with the new film, Battle of the Sexes. Battle of the Sexes is a tennis-based comedy drama based on the true events that I just mentioned. It's directed by husband and wife team Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Faris, the people behind the critical darling Little Miss Sunshine and also Ruby Sparks, and it stars Oscar award-winning Emma Stone as Billie Jean King and Steve Carrell as Bobby Riggs. So, how was it? The pacing of the film was snappy and it covered a lot of ground. I thought especially in the first half. The film clocks in at just over 2 hours, but I felt like there was a lot of plot to cover and it didn't feel any longer than it needed to be. The story follows the events before, during and immediately after the Battle of the Sexes. The catalyst for the story is Billie Jean King was kicked out of the US Lawn Tennis Association after a dispute about equal pay, and with the help of a friend Gladys, they set up their own female-only tennis association in a bid to set up their own competitions where the prize money would be equal to the money earned by male stars. Meanwhile, Bobby Riggs, a famous tennis star of old, feels like a rat in a cage and he wants to get some excitement back in his life. Obviously the film is based on events from 45 years ago, so I'm not sure how much I can actually spoil, but I'll just not talk about the ending and all that, yeah? Okay, so there's something I feel like I need to address. It's not a problem, but it's just not very clear from the trailer, I don't think. The trailer makes it feel like this film's going to be like a tennis comedy drama. Well, Battle of the Sexes ends up being more of a dramatic biopic based on the life of Billie Jean King during the run-up to and the day of the Battle of the Sexes, rather than a film that's equal parts Bobby Riggs, Billie Jean King, and tennis. Now, I do get why, though. This movie taps into the life of Billie Jean King, who's obviously a brave woman who wasn't only fighting for equality in her professional career, but also battling with some serious personal issues. I mean, it's okay to be gay in 2017, but in the 1970s, being outed could be a career ender, so a lot of the film's focus on the gay love story revolves around it being a taboo and frowned upon, as it was back in the 1970s. Hopefully you'll get what I mean, and I don't sound like an insensitive prick there. Personally, I found the Marilyn and Billie Jean scenes to kind of slow the pace of the film down significantly, and it stuck out like a sore thumb. Obviously, this was to add emphasis to the fact that this was happening, but it wasn't subtle, and I don't really like being negative here, but if you're going to use soft synthesizers and low lighting, close-ups and stuff like that to sell me a love story this year, and you're not Moonlight, good luck. Seriously, good luck. Now, don't get me wrong, Bobby Riggs is still featured quite prominently in the movie, and he's depicted as a man trapped. He's married to a woman who doesn't much condone his playful tendencies to make a bet with his son at the dinner table, and she's just landed Bobby a job working for her father. Most of the time we see Bobby, he's hustling, placing playful bets with friends just for the fun of it, or dreaming aloud to his older and uninterested son. I wish I could have gotten to see more Bobby Riggs, as Steve Carrell is absolutely fantastic at assuming that role. It wasn't until after the movie when I checked out interviews with the real Bobby Riggs that I got a sense of just how perfect Steve Carrell is for the role. Speaking of truth-based, sports-obsessed old men who can't seem to let go, John DuPont, American philanthropist, heir to the DuPont family fortune and convicted murderer, was portrayed by Carrell in Foxcatcher, and I didn't think I'd ever see him top that. That was fantastic. Well, in this, he does. I'm really impressed with his performance, and if you're planning on seeing this movie, then my advice is check out some interviews with Billie Jean King or Bobby Riggs beforehand, and you'll get a sense of just how authentic the performances are by not just Steve Carell, but Emma Stone as well. And that's not to discredit anyone else's performance. Sarah Silverman's Gladys Hellman really owned the first quarter of this film. I felt like she had the most to say, so to speak. Andrea Riseborough also plays Marilyn Bonnet, Billie Jean King's lover, and she does a great job too. Battle of the Sexes is a really great fictionalization of a colossal sporting event, and it's pretty damn close to its source material, even if it does take a few liberties. If, like me, you don't care about tennis, don't disregard this film. I'm glad I watched it, although admittedly, I still don't care about tennis. Alright, well that's my review of Battle of the Sexes. If you've seen it, let me know what you think. If you remember the actual Battle of the Sexes from way back then, let me know what it was like down in the comments below. Let me know your experience with it. I'd love to hear from you. Oh, and if you're still here, I'm going to be really busy with the channel over the next month. I've got a lot of movies lined up, and if I like them, you'll find them on here. So until then, remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more stuff from me, and I'll see you next week when I review The Disaster Artist. See you then.